Yeah, typically I will wait now that we've gone live. We are live now, by the way. So
hot mic.
Got it.
Don't say anything that you don't want Russell Wilson to hear. So just saying.
You can't say anything nice at all.
Don't say anything at all. But I do feel like the audience missed a good chunk of the conversation about hair dye.
That they did.
Did they miss it though?
I don't know. You did purple ones, like straight up purple ones.
Oh yeah.
Recently?
Yeah. Well, pandemic.
Oh, well,
I did like a lavender at first, which I really liked. That. And then I did like an Arctic Fox, like a darker one. That one was supposed to be semi-permanent. It was in my hair for like literally almost 6 months.
But and what? When you do it, the hair dye just comes right out?
I mean, this is the first time I've tried it, so we'll see.
I think hers is a little different than what I was using.
Summertime is my pandemic because no one's going to see me, and I'm
I totally get that.
Except for everybody on YouTube. So let's get started.
Except for right now.
Except for right now. All right, let's get started. Let's podcast alongside Lauren Brownlow and Brooke Pryor. I need 2 people to fill in for Joe Giglio while he's on vacation.
Wow.
No, not really.
You don't need to give him such a big head. Yeah.
No, I know. Actually, the genesis of this is that Wes Durham was in the studio yesterday and Brooke got into the Instagram comments. Was like, Wes was here and you didn't tell me.
And look, and things happened. So
I know. It's all right.
I think that was a great strategy. Lauren, I'm thrilled to see you, but I am still mad at you that you didn't tell me ahead of time.
Okay.
That Wes was going to be here.
Oh wait, like he was here.
He was here.
Oh, I should have come.
The only way I found out was through the highlight reels posted on social media.
Yeah.
Like, oh, by the way.
Well, you can't be too upset at me because you did bring the lily.
I did.
You brought the lily for me. I appreciate that.
I did. It's the North Carolina print. I don't know what the specific name is, but it has things about North Carolina on it. And this is part of my quest to heal my inner child, teenage self that was so restricted by her parents. I went to an all-girls high school in Winston-Salem. Do you know how much lily I was surrounded by?
I feel like you and Lauren can really bond over something like this.
We've talked about some of this,
because you dealt with that with the Greensboro Country Club set.
Well, yeah, the Sedgefield, yeah.
And then you had
the triad situation. I mean, listen, not only did I buy this spring, I also bought a Juicy Velour sweat set in my size, brand new with tags at a consignment store for like $20. That was another thing that my parents would not let me have that I was surrounded by. So there's been a lot of healing for me this off season, and I feel restored.
You say healing. That's what I tell myself when I buy some Nintendo product my parents wouldn't buy me. Even though I was a spoiled brat of a child, only child for 16 years when my brother was a surprise. I still was like, but my parents didn't get me the Super Scope for the Super Nintendo.
So therefore,
I'm going to buy it at Edward McKay. It was sitting right there. I had to buy it.
Also, that's very responsible of you to get it from Edward McKay.
Yeah, very good point.
You're just recycling it.
Thank you.
That's good for the environment.
See, we all feel better now.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Do we feel good about the ACC's draft night last night?
I mean, I hate to say, like, who cares?
I am with you.
I mean, I'm sorry. It's just like, it's at the point now where it's like, how many, like, I know so many people that were like, I don't even know who's getting drafted. I was listening to Bomani's Wednesday show on my way over. He didn't know anyone. And he's
Euro guys. Like the Charlotte Hornets drafted somebody that I'm like, who? Okay. You can tell me he's good. I got no idea.
Yeah. I feel like I was reading our recap on ESPN of all the picks because I felt like, okay, maybe I need to catch up a little bit. But it felt like the NBA has always been, I think, a niche pro league, and this felt like the most niche draft, like indie NBA for like all of these players from France and Australia and Serbia and all of these, like, oh, this is really cool for all these people that you may not have heard of as a casual NBA fan, and me looking for, I mean, the ACC guys. So, I'm thrilled for Bub.
I was happy for him, because I really enjoyed watching him.
So JC Zembel, who covers the Wolfpack, he texted me earlier today. He's like, hey, remember when the ACC was a proper league and it had more than 4 first-round picks, 3 of whom were freshmen?
Could have stopped at the
proper league. Remember when they were a proper league and all that stuff. But I was just like, man, the NBA, and the NBA is not interested in college basketball.
No.
There was a dude drafted from Weber State last night. And like, that's not the first time that's happened in the first, you know what I mean? I'm not trying to say like it doesn't matter at all, because does it reflect the talent pool a little bit? Sure, it does.
Play are so different.
The NBA is after guys now. It's not about like, oh, this guy went to Duke, ergo we will draft him high. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not working that way. So I don't know. It just doesn't move me that much, to be honest.
Davis on the YouTube comments, is Kyle Filipowski not going in the first round surprising?
No.
Yes. I disagree. I disagree. I was surprised
because he does have an NBA skill set, because he's a big guy, because he has range that you don't usually see out of guys that size. And that is, I think, the way the NFL is
for
going.
Sure. That's true.
And so that's why I was surprised. I mean, it's a little bit, I know that Harrison Ingram didn't necessarily have first round buzz, but like, I think that he will be a good NBA player because of that combination.
Sure. Because of that skill set.
Right.
But like, if you're an NBA team and everybody is as good, or like some cases, in plenty of cases, better than like a Kyle Filipowski and a Harrison Ingram anyway, right? Who would you rather play with? And that's why I'm not surprised, to be honest. Like, I'm just being real. Like, that's what I think.
So the story from last night.
Like, who would you rather have on your roster if you're a coach or a GM?
If it wasn't from Bronny, because Bronny's obviously the point of fascination, and at 4 o'clock, they're going to do the rest of they're going to do the second round at 4 o'clock today.
Is it at 4? Okay. Yeah. I didn't even know. Oh, because of the debate or whatever.
They don't want to get in the way of the presidential debate.
Why not? I'll be doing literally anything else. Like, I'll be like throwing my computer into the sun, okay, to avoid or into the moon, I guess, because it'll be nighttime. To avoid hearing about it. My phone will be like off, probably. No.
I mean, I'll be watching SVU reruns because I like to exist in that universe where the bad guys are always caught, even if it takes a couple of episodes.
I'm going to save Real Housewives of Dubai, I think, for that time slot.
I love that for
I'll just continue watching. I'm now at season 5 of Sopranos.
You didn't text me at all about season 4. I'm actually a little annoyed.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's my favorite season.
That's your favorite season?
Well, 3 maybe. 3 or 4.
I enjoyed 3.
3's great.
Season 5. 0. Oh, I've never seen it before either.
Okay, that makes me feel better. So I still have time. Before
you got time.
Season 5 took some chances. Let's just put it that way.
Okay.
Not chances that not everyone liked.
I mean, can't talk about taking chances. I watched the first episode of The Bear season 3.
Oh, I haven't seen that yet. That's another thing I will watch instead of the draft.
Sleepy last night that I didn't
instead of the debate.
That's taking it.
I'm telling you.
That was
but instead of the draft and the
debate. You know what? Maybe we should help people counter program the debate if they would literally do anything else. So there you go.
Specifically to Kyle Filipowski, the only enjoyment out of the draft, if you're looking for storylines, there's a bunch of guys that we've never heard of and we can't really say anything about. There is where college basketball is in relation to the NBA. Fine, so be it. The 2 biggest things that came out, one of them we knew, the other one was a surprise. First one was Bronny James, the intrigue around Bronny. He'll get drafted today. The question is it going to be the Lakers or is it going to be Phoenix? And if it's Phoenix, does that mean that LeBron James, after the whole JJ Redick machinations to get him to be the head coach, goes, hey, man, appreciate you. Love the podcast, buddy. Maybe we can pick that back up. Love doing the podcast with you, man. But I'm going to Phoenix because they're probably better suited to win in the West than we are right now. That would be hilarious. I'm not saying it's going to happen.
Right.
But it's not. There have been way too many whispers about LeBron James going somewhere else in the West, specifically Phoenix, that it would not shock. It would be hilarious. Anyway, Filipowski not getting drafted and hanging out in the green room became almost like a replay of the entirety of the ACC season where everybody was making fun of Mr. Sadface.
I literally expected Joe Lunardi to pop up after Bub Carrington got drafted for some reason. I think because Pitt was like so connected with Lunardi taking shots at them all year that I was like, is he going to come out and be like, actually, Bub is not.
So we had our little group text from last night into today, and we got into some weird tangent about Kyle Filipowski and hated Duke players. And I know, Brownlow, you said Bomani talked about this with Duke and style and coolness and all this other stuff.
Cooper Flag coming in. That's why it got brought up.
To me, like Kyle Filipowski, I said this in the group chat and I'll say it on the podcast. Kyle Filipowski, Duke hate, like people enjoying his suffering. It almost felt like going through the motions.
Yeah.
Like, I don't really think people truly felt that strongly about Kyle Filipowski. I think it was just,
he was an easy one.
Yeah,
it was a layup.
An outlet. Right.
It was look, it's a sad sack Duke player that they did the court storm and now we can make fun of him. Like, I don't ever really got the felt that people truly felt it in their plums when talking about Cal Filipowski.
You know why? I think that is partially because like he wasn't as effective as some of the more hateable ones are.
That's what Cooper Flagg's gonna do,
right?
If you, that's why I kind of like in Cal Filipowski.
That's what Grayson Allen did.
Dormant hate is
it's gonna come out.
I mean, because with Filipowski, I almost think it's absolutely an indictment of the kind of player he was at the college level. That like, you as a UNC person, you hate him because he's there, but I forget about him all the time. Like I wasn't actively watching the draft last night because I was watching SVU reruns, as you do. And I saw that he didn't get drafted. And I was like, oh yeah, I forgot that he was in the draft last year. And like, if I'm him, that makes me so mad because I would want to be hated. Like I want, if I play at Duke, I think
he did want that.
And that I think is kind of funny and also sad that you want to be hated and people just can't be bothered to even drum up the emotion to effectively hate you the way that others that have come before you have been hated.
Well, and like, I mean, I remember getting texts from like Carolina people that I know being like, I want him to play. I don't want him to not play because it's like, because you know how it can be in some games with him. Not every game was he like this, but there were plenty of games for Duke where like literally his emotional state would swing the entire outcome of the basketball game, right? In a good way.
Yeah,
that's what I mean.
In a good way.
In a bad way. And so like, if you're a Carolina fan, you're probably like, please play. I guess.
100%.
I mean, I hate to say that. Like, that sounds insane, but like, there were games like that where you were like, you would rather have, like, with the way he was going mentally, you would rather have him on the floor if you're an opponent than not.
I am somewhat. As you guys were talking, I was thinking about like, what am I having a hard time placing with Duke? And maybe it's because I've been around here too long. I really don't know what it is. I said this when Mike Krzyzewski retired, that folks are going to have a really hard time honing their dislike of Duke onto something because John Shire doesn't bring that out.
No.
I mean, the worst thing you could say about John Shire back in the day was Terp Town, where they photoshopped his face onto a variety of different things. That's how old I am.
But people still did say like they hated him, which was mind-boggling.
For what?
Well, that's when I first knew like when people like Duke people would always say, "Oh, you guys just pick one of our white players and decide you hate him." And I was kind of like, I don't know. But then when that happened, I was like, all right, you know what? I'm starting to buy this because like he literally did nothing wrong except make goofy faces, which like who among us?
But there's a difference between making fun.
I have no room to talk there.
I'm with the two.
I don't either.
I'm
I
with
felt
two.
badly for him.
So expressive.
Because I'm like, that's what my face would look like.
Top S, like we're talking S tier moments between the two of you. So when it comes to making
always
faces
unintentional,
like
yeah.
Oh no, I know it's unintentional. But so when Kay retired,
yeah,
I was like, you understand that like this is what brought the most amount of heat on this entire thing was through Coach K, and John's not going to bring that out by people. So I think people are just kind of grasping for that sort of thing. And again, Cooper Flag, that's the other thing about Cal Filipowski. They won the ACC tournament in his first year and John Shire's first year, but it wasn't like Duke was this juggernaut that was ripping through.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I think that also kind of adds to why I felt like, what are we doing with Cal Filipowski? The only time that it was justified was the hand wringing over what happened at Wake Forest with the court storming.
Oh yeah.
Court storming.
Yeah.
And for me, he was just the avatar for people that want nothing to do with court storming. And I'm not going to get into the faces and him limping off. I mean, we don't know what the situation was. And he played, he was just fine after that.
Yeah.
But the point was that people were treating it as though Cal Filipowski really like ended his career with what happened at Wake Forest when that wasn't the case. That I could see where people were annoyed, but I think that came more from the fact that there's the haves and have-nots. Duke brought if it was any other team, right? If it was a team not Duke that ended up having a court storm, we're not having the same kind of conversation. Jay
100%.
Billis isn't on TV going nuts about this kind of stuff. And I think that ends up following it to Duke and Cal Filipowski and everything else. But all this is to say, once we get to the Cooper Flag season, which Joe and I were talking about this earlier in the week when it comes to John Shire, that the first two seasons, you can look at it and go, yeah, you won the ACC championship your first year, undefeated at home, all that stuff, right? Last year, you can even make the argument with all the ups and downs and some guys not really panning out the way you thought they were going to pan out, including Cal Filipowski. Hey, getting the Elite Eight is no slouch, right?
Yeah, for sure.
True.
I would say that.
Yeah.
But Cooper Flag and the amount of attention they're going to get with this guy who's going to go in the top of the draft. If they don't produce, we get into this really knee-jerk, are they going to be talking about Jon Scheyer's job after this upcoming season? Now, I think that's ridiculous because it's way too early. And as long as Mike Krzyzewski is still kind of influencing things in the background, like we know what happened with JJ Redick.
Right.
You know, Mike Krzyzewski can be like, y'all remember when you wanted to fire me back in 1980, whatever? No, we're not doing that. So I think that's in play. What if
Scheyer has a bad season? JJ Redick bombs out at the Lakers, and then we get a JJ Redick to Duke redemption, learn how to be a coach by going backwards, taking a step back, and then he goes back to the pros. Let's just fully suspend belief.
I'd enjoy it because, by the way, talk about a player that I adore. I really have enjoyed him.
Oh, I thought you were saying while he was playing.
I was in college when he was in college. I did not care for him.
No. The first time I did Get Up in studio, he was in studio, and afterward we were in the green room hanging out, and I said, "You probably get this all the time."
Yes,
but I do have to tell you, I hated your guts, but you're actually really lovely, and
that's the thing.
A little sorry.
I remember when I saw him tweeting for the first time, I was like, "He's funny. I'm enjoying this." And then the more exposure I got to him over the years, the more I was like, he's great.
He's actually pretty good.
I love him.
He did
fantastic.
tell me he got run out of Chapel Hill one time.
Yeah.
He went to, I forget which bar.
I heard about this.
It might have been He's Not, and somebody recognized him.
But imagine going to He's Not as JJ Redick. You have to have a special kind of brain to think that would go well.
And
literally to not care.
It didn't work out for Reggie Love, but anyway.
And he got followed out of town. People recognized him and escorted him out of Chapel Hill.
I mean, I wasn't there, but I remember hearing about that.
You were actually part of the escort. You were leading the way.
No, the legend got blown up to epic proportions too.
And then he got arrested.
From Paul on the YouTube comments, Brooke is on some galaxy brain shit with JJ to Duke coach.
That's what the summertime is for.
I enjoyed that.
The more chaotic and out there, the better.
I think I was almost with you until I thought about how Duke fans would respond.
Yeah, probably.
Listen, if anyone was ever worried, if you were ever worried about Duke not being a hateable team, you make JJ Redick the head coach with Cooper Flag. My God,
let's go.
I can feel the hate. It's right there, and it would just be unleashed.
Put Greg Paulus on staff.
Oh my gosh,
jeez. I almost feel like there's a Mount Rushmore of the worst Duke coaching staff, or of all the people to put together to generate the most.
Wojo is a coach right now.
Woj, yeah.
Fun fact: my editor at ESPN is one of his best friends, and whenever they're together, he sends me pictures. And why would you do that to me?
Because they know.
So
because they know. That's why
he does.
One other NBA draft note before we move on to some housekeeping. The NBA draft is a way for college programs to stun, right? But sometimes you're trying a little too hard.
I'm so scared. I know where you're going.
This was from Arkansas's Twitter account. And it's just a bunch of years, 2008, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, okay.
They shouldn't have done it that way, by the way.
That's interesting. A player coached by Coach Cal Ark, John Calipari, has been selected in 17 straight NBA drafts, and it's a picture.
Also, you don't need to hyphenate 17 straight. Sorry,
and,
it's a journalistic.
Oh boy, okay.
Sorry, it's the editor brain.
And on the tweet, it's a picture from John Calipari. Not the most flattering photo from John Calipari.
No,
but he's pointing at himself.
He looks slightly.
Well, because it's always about him.
It's about him. He's pointing at himself. It's about him.
He looks very sleepy.
A little bit on the sleepy side, and this is why Kentucky fans were over John Calipari. This right here. Do you think he wanted that tweet? Do you think he crafted that tweet himself?
I mean,
and said hit publish.
I think
when my guy Reed
did. I think whoever it was that
the Chicken Man.
Yeah,
Chicken Man. Yeah. Someone who has no concept of how people scroll through social media. Clearly, because it was why are you just doing that? Make a graphic or something.
A graphic would have been so much better.
Don't just list all the things. We have to scroll past it.
Yeah, that was bad. Also some people need a character count, and that would be one of those.
I saw that tweet not long after. I literally at one point they're like, "Oh, this," I think it was I don't remember which Kentucky player got drafted, and they're like, "And guess who we have here?" And I'm like, "Let me guess."
Hey, he's there.
It's Coach make some FaceTime at the draft.
That's some always be recruiting.
When's the last draft he wasn't at? Genuinely.
I mean, there's a reason why.
It's been at least 20 years, right?
There's a reason why Kentucky fans got
I guess
mad.
probably COVID because he couldn't be there.
Is he the producer all up in the video?
He is.
Okay.
He is. I mean, look, I remember Kentucky fans reacted poorly to when he's like, "Hey, man, championships are nice and all, but like the greatest day in Kentucky history is when they put 5 guys in the lottery, whatever year that was."
Because that's the only thing
was
they
that
can
the year
say
that they went undefeated
is about Cal.
But then they lost. But this was the greatest reason why putting these guys.
Yeah, that was
NBA.
the wrong time
Not
to say
the
that.
Right time.
You
to
see,
say
that's you let your inside thoughts out. You need to keep those.
Don't say
but
that.
Cal's
say
never
that
really
to your guys and not publicly.
Cal's never had that filter though.
No. Which is why he's great.
Which is why he's Cal.
Right.
He just is a unique person.
Let's do a little housekeeping. That is brought to you by Enovana. You can check them out online at enovana.com. Green Cleaning Solutions. Let me play the jingle.
If you have mess inside your mansion or trash in your cabana, get it green clean with Enovana.
So check out Green Cleaning Solutions, enovana.com. Check out Rialto. Check out eTix. Get your podcast festival tickets today. It's presented by Breeze Through. Homefield's going to have an exclusive hoodie that you can buy only at the podcast festival. Every time I mention the podcast festival, we move units, Brownlow. So let's go. So again, go to the Rialto website. And we're kind of workshopping some of the things that'll take place on August 24th. We know Shutdown Fullcast is going to be there. We know that Michael Felder handed the dirt. They're going to be there.
My guy.
We're going to be there. I think I've decided while Joe is gone that we're going to bring back You're Full of Shit Gilio for the right to play for bourbon bottles. I think that'll be a little fun. So all these things will be taking place. And again, an exclusive hoodie from Homefield. We're going to have OG hats that you'll have access to. It'll be a lot of fun. And again, big thanks to Breeze Through for being the presenting sponsor of the podcast festival. Check them out at breezethrough.com. Also, big thanks to Mosquito Authority and Pest Authority. Check them out, bugsbite.com. You can bundle and save. The Mosquito Authority stuff is really, really useful. Yes, bug spray works and all that stuff. You can buy the little candles and various other things. But we're talking about the whole yard. You can't take that little zapper thing with you everywhere. The whole yard. Mosquito Authority helps you there. So again, check out bugsbite.com. Also, big thanks to Longleaf Swine. We talk about the barbecue. We know about the brisket. We've talked about the burgers, but don't sleep on the brunch.
Oh, I thought you were going to say the sidecars.
Well, you like the sidecars.
I do like the sidecars.
You're a big fan of those. So maybe when the show's done, we go get one. So go to the brunch menu on Sunday is fantastic. I cannot recommend the burrito enough. So check them out online, longleafswine.com. Also, big thanks to Hometown Realty, myhtr.com. As Brooke knows, there's a lot of new construction all out in the suburbs. You want to get access? You want access to that? You want the incentives? You want to know the inside information on all this stuff? Buy with confidence with Hometown Realty. Again, check them out online at myhtr.com. So it's funny. I texted this to you, Brooke, and I tweeted it too when you had that video of Russell Wilson, quarterback, Pittsburgh Steelers, talking about being in the best shape of his life. Just renewed, refocused, all those things.
Am I living in a time loop?
But when you're at that age and you say it, you know it's a wrap. Like that's the first sign of being washed is when you tell reporters,
I'm in great shape for my age.
I'm in the best shape of my life. I feel renewed and refreshed. And I thought to myself, oh, poor Brooke. She is truly blessed this year with all the Russell Wilson content. I am so here for it. So here for it. But in the summer, you need this.
That's true. What else do we talk about?
Exactly.
It's all speculation. Like you will hear me say 500 times between now and when the first game kicks off, we just need to wait and see. We just need to wait and see. Even more so because last year I said, well, once I just need to see Kenny Pickett like in a preseason game and then I'll have a better feel.
Sure.
And then he was like Mr. Preseason Super Bowl winner. And then it went off the rails quickly after that. So I have now had my preseason fool's gold experience. That means I am now a hardened NFL reporter veteran.
Yeah.
I will not believe anything until we get through regular season week 1. Get me past Labor Day and then I will tell you, but I will watch training camp. I will ask Russell about being in the best shape of his life. The funny thing about that too, the timing that he said it was at like the end of an interview scrum. And one of my friends is the one who asked him the question, I think just said something along the lines of like, why do you feel that this is the right fit or what gives you confidence that you're ready to bounce back? Something along those lines. Like very innocuous.
Sure.
And that's when he was like, well, I feel like I found the fountain of youth. And as
Did
soon
he get
as I
some of that
saw
Tom
that, I
Brady
was like,
stash? Whatever that is.
No. I think that fountain had nanobubbles active.
yeah. And I
Oh,
just said,
yes.
oh no, here we go.
Here it is.
That's going to be a headline. That's
Yep.
going to be, I'm going to do Sports Center hits on that. I'm going to have to write a newser, and we're going to talk about this if and when he throws a pick in the first game and gets trucked and whatever else.
I find this part of the business so fascinating because even it's like he's just saying the words.
Yeah.
Right.
He's just saying the words. Guys at that level have to say the words. That's what they believe.
Well,
And-
you have to believe it if you're
Yes.
crazy enough to
Right.
be that age, which that age as like
If you're crazy enough to play football,
right,
you
if
have
you're
to
crazy
believe.
enough to play football, if you're crazy enough to be in the league for 13 years or whatever it is,
Yes.
you have to have a part of your mind that
That's
is
broken.
just it's broken, that is just suspended, that
Mhm.
you have self-confidence
Yep.
no matter what.
Like an irrational. Yeah,
right, like
you
fake
have
it till
to.
you make it.
Yeah.
And he made it at one point, but now he's got to still keep just keep telling yourself so that you can get back up on the horse, even when you would very much like to just be like on a carousel with a horse that doesn't really move.
So as that was taking place and I was re-entering post-vacation orbit, I was catching up on NFL headlines. I had missed anything from the Panthers. Is there a contract that's been knocked out? Oh, we're still doing this thing with Tua. Just pay Tua. Oh, we're doing this thing with Dak. Jerry, buddy, what are we doing? What are your alternatives beyond Dak?
I'd love to see it.
Honestly,
It would be very funny.
Just pay Dak.
You don't want to see Trey Lance
No.
get out there and
Oh,
go in,
yeah,
play the
right.
football?
I'm
Just pay
all
these guys.
for it. Let's go. Let's go.
But this is the beast.
Call your bluff,
This
Jerry.
is the machine you got to
Mhm.
feed. But then I know when we've hit peak NFL summer headlines, when two of the things that I was catching up on
Mhm.
were in relation to the love lives of Bill Belichick and Matt Stafford. So I find this kind of funny. You're making a face, Brooke. Lauren, you're making a face. But I want to make it abundantly clear that I think it's hilarious to me that we're coming off an NFL season where everybody was screaming at the top of their lungs about, get Taylor Swift off my damn television. I want to focus on football. Really? Because, man, oh, man, were people eating up Bill Belichick dancing around with
Listen.
a 24-year-old new girlfriend, which, by the way, what does a 70-something-year-old man and a 24-year-old girlfriend talk about?
I don't know that there's much talking.
I
don't-
like it's a Steely
I don't
Dan
know.
song. There's a Steely Dan song called Hey 19. We
Right.
ain't got much in common. That's what he's living out a
I
Steely
am
Dan
literally
song.
30 years younger than him, and I do not know what I would talk. Like, if you just threw me in there with a random 24-year-old that I had no other connection with, and you were like, have a conversation, I'd be like, so
I mean,
you want to
it
know
is-
about the 90s? I don't know.
It is. I don't know. What
was it like in the 1900s, Bill?
Right.
like the wildest thing
The
to me is
1900s,
that
get
when
out.
meeting her on that plane, he autographed her homework.
Listen,
Her homework, and that
and
I mean-
somehow not a red enough flag for him to be a 70-year-old man.
no,
Oh,
because
God.
as someone who I'm at the combine, I am there at bars out later, far later than I would like to be, which means that at some point you start to see some of the elder statesmen of the NFL
In their natural
some
element,
of-
in their
yep,
natural element,
Yeah,
right?
with
Like
some
in
of
their
the younger
element.
cocktail
Yes.
waitresses
Comfortable.
and
Oh,
yep,
gross.
I
Yeah.
mean, listen,
Gross.
they all think they have game,
Uh-huh.
and
Going like Urban Meyer in the bar mode.
yeah,
you know?
I simply can't.
Yeah.
I don't have a
Ugh.
poker face, as
No.
we know.
I'd be the same as you. I'd be like,
Yeah,
gross.
It's that's what they do. This is the most extreme example. I have a lot of questions that I don't want answers
No,
to.
I don't want them answered.
No.
I don't want them
No.
answered.
I'm
Well, actually, no, I take that back. I want one question answered. When y'all are at dinner, what are you talking about?
I think maybe she's on Instagram and
Yeah.
he's playing Candy Crush
Or something.
Do
or
you-
reading the
he's, like,
menu by the light of his
reading-
iPhone.
I could see him reading like obscure history books. Like, I don't know.
Oh yeah, he loves war. Hey, maybe she also likes war and they just talk about world conflict.
Does Bill Belichick Does Bill Belichick scroll Instagram and
Maybe
send
they're
her,
watching
like,
Masters
I thought
of the
this was
Air
a funny
together?
reel.
Do you think they send each other TikToks back and forth?
And
Or
he's
what-
like,
what
how
did
do
he-
I open this?
What do you call it? Like Face Snap or Snapbook? He like famously got
Yeah.
into
Right,
social media.
Right.
She probably helps him with that.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah, she's really just like an intern or like a personal assistant,
No.
just keeping him current with the trends.
What she does, she prints out TikToks
oh,
and then
no.
leaves them in a little binder for him. Like, yeah, I thought these would be
like
funny.
a flip book.
Yeah, a little
And
flip
you
book.
just-
Yeah, just do it real quick.
I don't like to be
That's
like
what it would be.
an age gap alarmist.
No,
or anything.
we can
But
sound an
like,
alarm
I'm
about that.
sorry. I think I texted you all this last night. Like, if you were old enough to have served in the Vietnam War, like, you can't date a girl that has homework. I'm sorry. It's just not. I hate to make blanket statements,
it's grad
but
school.
like,
What if it's grad school? There's homework. Projects.
No.
I think it was, but I don't care.
There's got to be a cutoff.
I don't know.
Look,
I'm sorry. Like, that should be like, ooh, you know what?
Look,
I'm too old for this.
May, December relationships are as old as time.
That's like January, December, though. That's
all I'm saying is the Falcons should have hired him, and then he wouldn't have so much time on his hands, and our national nightmare would be over.
Now, I would say that a lot of this is painted by the fact that I used to watch The Girls Next Door on E.
It's a good show. It was.
Do you remember? You probably
the
too young.
Playboy show.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
I do recall. That's where
Holly,
those
women are all
and
still
Holly.
very they got famous.
They actually have a podcast where they revisit some of that stuff. So I remember reading.
I was a Kendra girl.
I think I was a Holly guy.
Of course.
I loved Holly. So anyway, I remember, I think it was Holly that actually did like a tell-all about what it's really like in the, and again, this is all how it's portrayed. Like, oh man, the Playboy Mansion, Hugh Hefner. If you read what they were doing, you would never,
I don't want to.
Never actually want that life. Now, if Bill Belichick puts a little boat captain hat on, then I know he's really trying to do that.
But like, also when you're in that ecosystem, there are many women to share the burden with. In this situation, it's a 1-to-1 ratio. You don't get any time off.
They clock it in like, all right.
That there's no sister wives situation going on there. You are alone in this.
Jeez. Which and then there's the Matt Stafford thing.
Oh,
this is not the first time that I forgot Mrs. Stafford's name.
Kelly
Stafford.
I wish I didn't know.
Right, but it's become a thing that you've had to act. This is like 2 or 3 times now she's gone on a podcast and talked about some things that would in the locker room. I'm guessing.
Yes.
Matt Stafford now hears about.
Yes, I think Matt probably would prefer if she just didn't do anymore.
Why does she keep doing it then?
Because she is her own woman.
That's right.
Maybe Matt doesn't mind.
I mean, obviously to a degree, does he? Because like, if this is the 3rd time this has happened, like at a certain point, it's like, well,
saying.
Maybe he doesn't want to cause a fight at home. I don't know. I don't know. But the thing I thought was interesting about the Kelly Stafford thing, do you want to give a brief of what was said in that?
Long story short, if I can give the too long, didn't read version, she went on a recent podcast. She talked about while they were at Georgia, they had a break. And during that
she
break,
was mad at him.
to get back at him, to make him jealous, she dated, quote unquote, the backup quarterback. Now people went on this big thing about, well, who was it? Which was the bad? People looking at rosters. And then she had to double back and say, oh no, I apologize. He's a great person. But apparently she's referenced this guy multiple times, which means that she's clearly not over said ex.
I don't think that's what it means. I think
that's how I interpret it.
I think she just thinks it's a cute story, to be honest. Like I really do.
Not the word that
cute is not the word I'm going for.
But like, I think like when I first heard it, I was like, oh, that's funny. Literally, that was my reaction of like, oh, that's funny, because we all do. What happens if
it keeps coming up?
Well, again, that's the fact that like that was what started to sway me when we were talking about this last night, was like the fact that it's come up like several times, because I was like, okay, maybe like once is enough, like maybe you share that anecdote of
right, because that was the thing that when I was talking with a friend about it and she went to Georgia, she was like, oh yeah, I've heard this story so many times. Like this was not new information, but it's almost like she just kept going and saying it on bigger and bigger platforms to get the max like shock value out of it.
I think she liked the reaction she got out of it. Maybe. I get it. She's in the shadows. She probably thought people thought it was like charming and endearing of like, oh, because we all do stupid things when we're that age, especially in relationships. Like we have all done something we'd rather not have done. I feel like
we just don't bring it up on podcasts with former bachelor and bachelorette contestants.
And that is completely fair. Right. And I understand, like, maybe don't keep doing it. But I was at first when I saw people were mad at her, I'm like, for what? Like that was like 20 years ago.
Well, because that
if it's for bringing it up repeatedly, I get it.
It's bringing up repeatedly, but the initial reaction why people are mad about it is you know how locker rooms are, and it's like what happened at the Tom Brady roast, right?
Oh, I finally watched some of that, and I did not like it.
I only watched clips.
I was surprised at how hard he let people go on him, though.
Right. Right. It was so bad.
Pleasantly so, because I don't like it.
It was so bad and so roasted that Tom Brady, after the fact, people might have missed this, that he said he had regrets that his kids had to sit there and watch this stuff and hear like stuff about their moms. And it was like, this never crossed your mind before.
Yeah, that was weird.
But of course, that leads to me that this only further proves a point that I've been making about Tom Brady and why I don't think it's going to work out on TV. Tom Brady doesn't have a personality.
No.
Tom Brady is tofu. I think he does things. He's a much more vanilla version.
Is he like a shapeshifter with his personality?
I don't even know if I think he's a much more vanilla version of Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers doesn't have a personality. He wants to glom onto things that get him attention, which is why you see what he's been doing over the last couple of years. So Aaron Rodgers reminds me of people that I used to know in college that would just do things for provocative sake because that's what they thought a personality was.
It gets the people going.
Exactly.
I thought Brady was like trying to pivot into like being more like relatable, normal. Like, look, I'm letting people roast me. I'm also funny, like Peyton.
You're not normal. That's the problem.
Right. I know.
You're not supposed to.
He was way funnier than I thought, though. I'll give him that.
I don't want him to be normal.
I turned it off after Nikki Glaser because I
didn't even start until after that. Actually.
I got so uncomfortable with the number of Giselle jokes for that very reason. I mean, it's the same thing. Like,
yes.
So that's why I think
it's like the sex shaming and like the slut shaming and like making anything the woman does like about the man.
So that's why with the Matt Stafford, Kelly Stafford thing, I'm like, that's why people were like, whoa, how's this going to play out? Because you just saw that publicly. Who knows what they were saying to Tom in the locker room? That's all I'm saying.
To Tom?
Oh yeah. Be one of the guys.
I don't know about that, man. I don't know that
one
he
other
got
NFL note.
Talk like that. Maybe Stafford, yes, but not Tom Brady.
In the 8-9 season, you can say whatever you want to him.
This Charlotte Observer story actually ties into some OG summer break programming we're going to have next week. Jeremy Markovich, NC Rabbit Hole, and I talked about gas station fireworks and monster trucks. And some of that was in relation to things that have kind of fallen by the wayside. You know, fireworks, video poker south of the border isn't what it used to be, thanks to Buc-ee's, all that kind of stuff. One of the things I was going to make a joke about how once you cross into the South Carolina border, there's all sorts of things that people thought were going to be a big deal and then weren't. Well, the Charlotte Observer hit on the latest wreckage, if you will. What to do with the old Panthers headquarters. So this is from the Instagram account. 10 miles south of the North Carolina state line, traffic lights flicker above a pristine pavement in Rock Hill. It's a great lead. Interstate 77 roars beneath a new concrete bridge at an exit that cost taxpayers $90 million.
Ooh, that's journalism porn.
The exit road was being built for the new Rock Hill headquarters and practice facility.
Who wrote that lead?
John Marks.
Okay, nice.
But and then it says practically, but that was before the team quit on the $2 billion project 2 years ago in a messy, high-profile breakup. And essentially, it's with the Panthers HQ gone, is Rock Hill's new $90 million I-77 exit a bridge to nowhere?
Ooh.
Very familiar with the road to nowhere in the Smokies, which is a tunnel that just goes to nothing, right? So there's this big fancy exit with nothing there.
Honestly, what better metaphor for is it big enough to like house all of my hopes and dreams that this team will ever be anything worth cheering for? Because that's where it's the fans' hopes and dreams should go there.
So Brooke, in NFL,
if it's big enough,
before we move on to the lightning round, this was kind of a lightning round, but in NFL circles, do people just look at the Panthers? Do people just not think about the Panthers, or is it man, that's a crap situation with that owner type of situation?
I think it's both.
Okay.
Really. I think to me, the thing that I keep coming back to that is the most puzzling about the ownership situation and the way that David Tepper has behaved since taking over the team is that he came from the Steelers organization.
Yeah.
Like he had an example of how to have stability, how to run an organization.
Mm-hmm.
And he got to the Panthers and just played like SimCity and Roller Coaster Tycoon and tried to use like the cheat code, except it didn't really work. And now all of a sudden your sim is in a room with a fire and there's no door. And it's just, oh no, what do we do now? And you got to quit the game and don't save. Like it feels like it is just all chaos. And so I think that, they are forgotten about in a lot of ways.
Yeah,
I mean,
honestly, it's probably better than if people like watched them play.
But that's the problem, though,
because
is that they're forgotten about until Tepper does something else. And then
that's all people know.
On someone,
and then it becomes
gets the city of Charlotte to spend however much money. And then it's like, oh my gosh, that's right. What a terrible situation they're in.
That was a lightning round before the lightning round. Let's actually do a lightning round next. Big thanks to the Butcher's Market for being a corporate champion. 4th of July is next week. You know what you need to do? You need to go to the Butcher's Market. Go to thebutchersmarkets.com. They've got pre-made burgers. They've got dogs. The signature steak tips are absolutely fantastic. You cannot mess those up. Trust me. So go on over to the Butcher's Market and get all of your cookout needs for this weekend and next. Or maybe you're just looking to get out, get the kids out, summer break. You're bored. It's hot. Go to Two Roosters. Ice cream will make everybody happy. That's what Two Roosters does.
Yes.
So head on over to tworoosters.com. They got rotating selections of flavors all the time. When Gilio gets back, I'll be curious to see what his new obsession is. See, I stick with what I like, and I just keep going with it. Is it peanut butter related? Yes, then I'm going to go for it, right?
Yeah.
But Joe's all over the place. So
he just wants to try everything. I do get that too. I'm kind of like that. It's like if I go to a restaurant and I try, or ice cream shop, whatever, I'm like, I got to try a different flavor next time, even though I don't like that many flavors.
And speaking of Joe, I haven't heard about any sort of traffic violation, so I don't think we need to contact Whitaker and Hamer for now.
Good.
But you never know.
But just in case.
Keep
the contact info saved in your phone.
Go to wh.lawyer, attorneys and counselors at law. Whitaker and Hamer can help you out with that. Again, that's wh.lawyer. Actually, my bad. I hit the wrong transition music. That one? What's wrong with me? I'm not even doing the right ones.
And yet you said I didn't need headphones.
It's okay.
Sad to miss this out.
Maybe I'm just too jacked up on Celsius right now. I don't even know what I'm doing. Hold on a second.
Lightning round.
Now we're talking. It's lightning round time. Are you ready for AI Al Michaels?
No.
I mean, you could have just stopped at AI and I would have said no.
So with the Olympics, the Olympics are starting soon. Oh, hold on.
Is he not already?
Lightning round item number 1.
Is he not already AI?
You'd think by now he's kind of up there.
Can
in
neither
age.
confirm nor deny.
His face looks like a simulation.
So apparently, on Peacock, if you download the app during the Olympics and you tell them what you like I really like swimming. I want to know all about swimming. You log into the app and they'll give you a personalized recap of what happened at the Olympics, and it's all done by an AI generated Al Michaels.
Oh, that's
what
weird.
I want to know is, can they use that technology for Thursday night football when Al is clearly over it? Like, can someone in the back?
That's where they could really use it, to be honest.
Here's when I saw this, and to be clear, Al Michaels signed off on it. I mean, I'm sure he got paid handsomely.
Of course he did.
Oh, yeah.
Why wouldn't he?
Yeah, I'm sure he got paid handsomely. But I see that and I think to myself, y'all understand that your business is cooked the minute you start to agree to these types of things.
Yeah.
You're joking about it.
Well, I mean,
we already have.
He's on his way out. Like, what does he care?
But that means they don't need anybody to come in behind him.
Right.
They can use a robot.
They can use decades worth of Al Michaels.
Are going to anyway.
They have decades worth of Al Michaels calls they can put into a machine language learning system or whatever the heck they call it. And then, like you say, would you know if Al Michaels is even in the booth? It could be 20 years from now. Al Michaels might not be with us anymore, but the voice is still there. It's like a video game.
The only thing I wonder is how quickly will it be able to process? Like wow, I've just gone so galaxy brain. Me and Aaron Rodgers are going to have like a kumbaya session after this. But like, will a robot be able to process in real time what's happening on the field in front of them to be able to then translate it into a call?
Maybe. I mean, Russell Wilson.
How Westworld are we getting?
Russell Wilson's a quarterback, is he not? He's processing all these things in real time.
Yeah, but he can't.
Are you sure? Are you sure Russell Wilson is real?
No, but
and
that's
not an AI construct.
Point. So that the fountain of youth is actually AI programming. There's a lot of technology in Pittsburgh.
There is.
Duolingo's right across the street from my gym.
For real? The office is there?
Yeah.
Do they
I have never
do they
seen
remind you?
Yeah. You actually just get smacked in the face by the bird when you come out of the gym.
I had to delete it because I was like, I'm tired of being shamed right now.
Lightning round item number 2.
So I got this email press release from the ACC network. They are going to be welcoming SMU to the ACC on July 1. They're going to commemorate it. They're going to do a show from Dallas on July 1st. I'm not ready for this, Lauren. I'm just not ready for this. But this does get me to SMU showing up in EA College Sports.
Oh, my God.
Best offense power rankings.
That makes sense. I think
This is a really strange thing. I'm going to need you guys to help me out.
here.
Okay.
So
Brooke,
EA
if you haven't seen this, you're in for a shot.
So EA Sports is doing a really good job of hyping everybody up for the game release in less than a month, right? So yesterday, I think they had put out, or the day before they had put out the toughest places to play according to EA Sports. I think it was Texas A&M was number 1. I think like Ohio State was in the top 5. LSU was in the top 5. All these things make sense.
Yep.
Right? So now they put out. Now we'll get to UNC in a
Tough
second.
for which team to play there?
Hey, as we all know, this is a deep cut, but the Pine Trees, very intimidating. Very intimidating. So they put out offensive power rankings. Georgia's number 1, 94 overall. Makes a lot of sense to me. Oregon, number 2, Alabama, number 3, Texas 4, Ohio State 5. That all tracks.
Yeah.
But I see, hey, look, SMU's at 20. That's cool. Go ACC. Clemson at number 10. All right, cool.
What?
Clemson.
I mean, okay, look, that's a program ranking. Fine, whatever. We'll allow it.
Hold on. If you're watching on YouTube, zoom in and enhance.
I do think they gave up after like the top 5 of both of these lists.
State is 16th according to the college football power rankings of EA Sports. 16th. Now I get it. They got KC Concepcion. I get it. Grayson McCall is a really good transfer pickup. They've also picked up some pieces for running back. I mean, they've been active in the transfer portal. Don't get me wrong, but it's a little weird to see NC State.
Iowa's got a new offensive coordinator
with NC State ties.
There might be.
Well, you won't think so in a minute.
Making things even weirder, I am looking at the defensive power rankings. I see Ohio State 1, Georgia 2, Oregon 3, Alabama 4, Clemson 5. Okay, that all makes sense.
Oh, no.
I see Florida State at 11. Okay, that makes sense. Iowa 13, maybe a little underranked. Okay, cool, whatever. Whoa. Zoom in and enhance. Yeah,
you already can feel it. You know what's coming.
Zoom.
You know what's coming.
What do I see at 23?
23.
North Carolina, 84 overall.
And Michael Jordan, like, where else are you going to put them? Give him a fun number.
The ceiling is the roof, Brooke. The ceiling is the roof.
I was like, wait, did someone get the mixed, like, State and Carolina, like, mixed up for the various things? Because, like, even for Carolina offense, I don't know that I'd put them in a top 25 ranking for next year PS. But, like, if I'm putting a unit in there, it ain't the defense.
I mean, don't they got a new defensive coordinator? Right?
Yeah, I mean, Iowa got a new
that's what it is.
You know what? Iowa got a new offensive coordinator. Where are they in the offensive rankings? You know? Just saying.
Unfortunately, I have nothing to add other than video games will melt your mind and they are bad and no one should play them.
Clearly
Honestly,
melting your mind if you think North Carolina's in the top 25 of power rankings for defense.
My mind has never thought that.
Maybe they're just big Jeff Collins fans.
I heard that, you know, they went super realistic with a lot of these stadiums and stuff. Like, I know Clemson gave them a ton of access, whatever else, but I'm sitting here like, okay, but if that's your defensive ranking, like, I don't know that I can trust anything else in this game.
Wes Durham and I, Wes Durham and I talked about this.
We cannot.
Wes and I talked about this yesterday a little bit.
Oh, when we weren't here.
Oh, sorry, when I forgot to tell you that, that
just
Wes
wanted
was
to make
here.
sure.
Well, next time Wes is in town, I will let you know.
Thank you.
I get that there's a Jeff Collins bump, so to speak, because Jeff Collins, the defensive coordinator, is very highly regarded, not necessarily the head coach and what happened at Georgia Tech. I get all that kind of stuff. But the question is, does North Carolina have the talent for Jeff Collins to work with? Now, you've looked at recruiting rankings, and the answer to that would be yes. But I think as we've come to find out, recruiting rankings don't necessarily add up to what your defensive prowess is going to be. They've had great talent come through
on that side of the ball. Yeah, it just didn't work.
And
wasn't working.
I mean, we're talking, this is a feature, not a bug levels here of the last 5 years when it comes to the defense. And Mac Brown can dress it up all he wants, but if I'm looking for them to make consistent stops, we haven't really seen it. Can Jeff Collins unlock that? I don't know, but they're going to have to if they're going to have a decent season, because offensively, it's going to be a whole new ball game for the Tar Heels.
I started to say, like, is it going to be better? Like, it has to be, but Lord knows, every time I've said something like that, it gets worse. But like, is that reasonable to think? Yeah. Is top 25 a reasonable expectation? No. No, it isn't.
No, it's not great.
Top 50. Now we're talking, right? Like
that's kind.
Well, that's like, I mean, that's not, if you think like, okay, they can get a lot better. He's going to get them a lot better. Like top 50-ish would be great.
Yeah.
Top 25? What are we talking about?
All right, I think we got to take a little bit of a hockey break here real quick.
Let's take a break. Let's take a hockey break. Brought to you by Happy and Hill.
So with Happy and Hill, I actually went to Happy and Hill yesterday, got myself the Bueno Bowl, which is fantastic. It's a Mexican-inspired bowl with brown rice, chicken. They got the pickled onions. They got a really good tomatillo vinaigrette. It's excellent. Smoothies are also good as well. Don't make the mistake that I did. I thought yesterday when I wrapped up what I was doing here, I was going to drop by North Hills, get in line, and go home. I should have used the app. It was the lunch crush. Still happening.
Dude.
Still happening. I was like, oh, use the app, Joe.
It's not your first time at North.
I know. It's not my first rodeo. You're absolutely right about that. So anyway, head over to Happy and Hail. Use the app. Don't make the mistakes that I have. All right. So, Brooke, you got any thoughts on the Carolina Hurricanes offseason?
I love Sebastian Aho and that puppy. And
okay.
Yeah.
Some quick Carolina Hurricanes things. I did want to highlight some of the stuff that's going on with the team, and then what we have today with an update on PNC Arena and the renovations, which I want to get your thoughts. I love
renovations.
I know you love renovations because there's another building in the Triangle that needs renovations. And I'm going to be really curious to see what they're going to do with it.
But
we do know what's going on with PNCs. But let's talk about what's going on with the roster first. Essentially, at some point, potentially at the draft this week, Marty Natchez is going to get traded. I mean, everything that I've been reading about what's going on, whether it's the Elliot Friedmans of the world.
Just when I learned to pronounce his last name.
Or the Frank Saravallis, all those guys. They're all doing these highlights on Eric Tulsky, who's the new general manager, and it's Natchez deals. I got to imagine with all the smoke that there's going to be some sort of deal. The question is, what are the Canes going to get in return? That's what it comes down to. But what I'm more interested in, beyond Marty Natchez, I want a Seth Jarvis deal done. Let's go. Let's make this happen, as we talked about with the NFL. Sign him now. It's only going to get more expensive.
But we have had this discussion this summer, and I don't even follow this.
Yeah.
They take their time. That's just what they do.
That's what they do.
It is what it is.
So no actual news as it relates to the roster, just a lot more smoke as they go into the draft.
It's contract edging. I don't kink shame. It's Tom Dunden's thing. It's fine.
I was not prepared for that.
I'm sorry.
Especially after just leaving Hollywood. Now you're turning red.
I know.
Especially it's a sunburn. It's a sunburn.
I was like, maybe I went too far.
No, it's okay. I mean, while we were walking around Galaxy's Edge in Disney World, you did it. The 16-year-old and the 13-year-old were going Edge. I was like, okay, guys. Okay.
I can't believe they know what it. Well, I can.
Yeah, Lauren, they're 16 and 13. Remember when you were around that age? I do.
Yeah, I didn't know what that was.
I definitely didn't know.
Yeah, but you knew whatever the terms were that were of the time is the point.
I was very.
I used to get made fun of a lot for not knowing the terms.
I was an angel.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. You were working at a deficit in that department. Yeah, I get it.
That's definitely what Joe's thinking.
I know what you're thinking, but sometimes it works the other way.
As somebody who went to 12 years of Catholic school.
That's not the same thing.
Yeah, priests don't have kids.
I'm not talking about this.
I know what you're talking about, but
I'm talking about people who are
you are right
in school.
You're right, but it's not the same thing.
I know who I went to high school with, is what I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
I'm just saying it's not the same thing with what Brooke was dealing with versus that. But that is a certain type of.
I will let you two Google why they also thought Typhoon Lagoon was funny, but that's.
I'm not Googling.
I can guess, and I'm gonna keep my safe search on.
Go ahead, do that. You don't have to worry about the Wi-Fi here. We don't. This is not safe for work. It doesn't matter here. We don't monitor any of that stuff.
Oh, that's so kind of you.
Anyway, so today.
Not taking any chances.
Today, they finally signed the lease agreement, or they're in the process of signing the new lease agreement with the Centennial Authority and PNC Arena. And my questions were simply, okay, cool. After a year of not having anything done, because we're a year removed from the big moment where they said they were going to do all these things, right? So my curiosity was, all right, well, when are we going to start this stuff? We finally signed it. When's the development going to start? My understanding is that after the 2025 basketball and hockey seasons, they are going to start doing the in-building enhancements, like the stuff that they know they can do like right now.
Mm-hmm.
And then once they start getting through that, they will then look to the following season to truly do some like ripping stuff out, like full demo stuff.
So we're still a ways.
We're still a ways away. So we're still waiting until post 2025 basketball, hockey for in-building enhancements.
Okay.
Now, outside the building, the development around it, the entertainment portions, the offices, the hotel, the apartments, the restaurants, and all that stuff, a music venue.
That'll be very good.
My understanding is that after the 2025 football season, they're finally going to break ground on that stuff.
Okay.
And that's supposed to take place. That could be anywhere between $200 million to $500 million in development. That'll take place starting in 2025 after the football season. We're talking parking decks, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But
love a parking deck.
That breaking ground,
especially this time of year.
At some point, they will reveal all of the actual phased plans, but it has to start once they break ground. They're going to have a music venue. This is the part that I found most intriguing. So PNC already hosts a bunch of concerts and whatnot, but they are going to be building how'd they describe it? Let me get it from the press release because I think it's important to read it exactly what like they want us to read it. They're going to have a 4,300 seat ballroom that will be operated by Live Nation that will bring additional music and entertainment offerings to the mixed use district. This is the kind of venue that this area needs. You've got Red Hat. The Red Hat's going to be going in downtown Raleigh. It's going to be going through a transition as they expand out the convention center in downtown Raleigh. Now, Red Hat's supposed to be moving like a block up or a block down.
Okay.
But while that's going on,
interesting.
This could be a potential spot. So, hey, look, more venues, better concert access, that kind of stuff. But all these things, if you're wondering, hey, when does this shit actually start? 2025.
It'll be very good for that area because I can't tell you the amount of times I've been over in that way for like a state game or Hurricanes game or whatever. And like, even just wanting something like to eat around the stadium.
Yeah.
There's one place that I went where was it? And I wish I knew the name, but there was a little like restaurant that was kind of across the street that I went to before a Canes game one time to watch the women's national championship.
Backyard Bistro.
Yes, I am.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, but that's like it. And like I made sure that we got there early.
You have to because it's like the only one that's like right there.
Yeah.
There's a Wendy's, and then shout out to Breeze through.
I will eat at that Wendy's, by the way. I'm not above it. I will eat at that Wendy's. I love Wendy's.
There's been a few
but that was usually where I would go if I like needed food before I went to a game and I didn't have time to eat. Yeah, I would just get it there because there's nowhere else to go.
So from our guy Ken, Lauren or Brooke get that survey for a basketball facility at UNC, renovate or build new? Because that's the other thing too. I mean,
that was the building I was thinking about when you were.
We got Bank of America that's going to go through their stuff. They just approved that. But the one that has been, I feel like we've been discussing the Smith Center and renovation for.
It's always talked about as like, well, we know the Smith Center's out of date, and then it's just like left at that,
and then we just know.
Yeah,
and it's like, okay, well, is anyone gonna? I don't know.
I would prefer a renovation versus building new. I will say. Because I like to preserve some part of like the history of the program, right? I mean, obviously it hasn't always been there, but like, I don't know.
But it has for a while now, to be honest. I mean, now it's been like when, I remember even in like the 2000s feeling like it was still like newish, kind of like relatively speaking. It's like, oh, all these other things happened at Carmichael, but at this point it's been like 40 years. So it does feel like a lot of things have happened in there now.
I don't know to change about it though. The chairs are wildly uncomfortable.
I will say this. I think Joe and I might come up with a t-shirt idea. Whenever they announce whatever they're going to do with the Smith Center, we're going to have a t-shirt that just says save the troughs. That's all we ask. Save the troughs.
Oh yeah.
The urinal troughs.
Yeah. I can't say that that's a thing that I've ever considered needed saving.
I'm trying to think of like what something is at the Smith Center that might be considered out of date that I would like them to keep. I'm trying to think of something. I can't think of anything off the top of my head.
I don't know. Those boxes are just like, I don't even know what they are at this point. They're like little recessed little cubbies.
Yeah,
They
that's
are.
but see,
Yeah.
I like
But
it.
it's kind of like, it's like charming in its own way.
Right. Also, I am never going to be of the tax bracket that is sitting in the cubby boxes.
Correct.
So it does not affect me.
No.
Because like that's the other thing that it's like hard to get super moved because they'll be like, oh, well, the rich people need a nicer box. I'm like, don't care.
All I want is
Sorry.
that the chairs, that the backs are stationary and
that would
don't
be
move
nice.
forward when you move forward.
Oh my God.
The older I get, the more that my back's like, no. We need support. We're not going to support the chair. The chair needs to support us.
Gotcha.
100%.
Gotcha. All right, let's do a little OG gambling syndicate. I almost feel like I should have had an OG gambling syndicate on how quick Paul Beam, who was a member of the UNC band, was going to get down to the John Calipari tweet. He pointed out, confirmed that the Calipari tweet was a social media manager's idea, but she knew exactly how to get the people riled up. See, it gets the people going.
All content is good content.
You're right. All content is good content. You might want to have some content of your own when you get back to the office and you're like, hey, I was right about this. I just won some money off DraftKings. Or, hey, I just put $5 down, used the promo code OG24, and I got $150 in bonus bets instantly. You can do that right now when you download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. UFC 303 taking place. Jump in on the action with DraftKings. You got the light heavyweight title on the line with the main event. And again, use the promo code OG24. You will get $150 in bonus bets instantly. And it's not just about UFC. You've got Gilio's favorite thing. What is it? The Nerfies or whatever they're called, like the no hit, no run innings in baseball. Love those. All sorts of parlays. And of course, futures.
Listen, that's
You can do futures and all that other kind of fun stuff. Well, you know what? I had neither.
I have, but it's been like, it was in Vegas. And it was like 13 years ago.
The one time I did. Was
Yeah,
in Vegas.
trust me, this is a lot better than going up to a sports book and like filling out a sheet and all that stuff. It's all there on your phone. It's really convenient. It's really easy, and it's a lot of fun. It's all at DraftKings. Download it today. Use that promo code OG24. The crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Or in West Virginia, visit 1-800-GAMBLER.net. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, 21 and over. Age varies by jurisdiction. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. Deposit and eligibility restrictions apply. See terms and responsible gaming resources at dkng.co/MMA.
Big thanks to State Farm for sponsoring Ovias and Gilio, a corporate champion for quite some time now. You can go to theoginsurance.com, insuregarner.com, or call them directly at 919-779-8277. Talk to an actual human being, which is pretty sweet. Big thanks to Roback for sponsoring Ovias and Gilio. You can use the promo code OG20 to save 20% off your order. I was using those. You've heard me mention this. I cannot speak highly enough. Those shorts came in clutch in Florida. Super comfortable, moisture wicking, kept you cool. They got the same with polos, hoodies, skorts. They got skorts.
I love a skort.
Skorts are all in. The whole like I'm about to go play golf or tennis look is very big right now.
I'm wearing an exercise dress that has shorts built in underneath for that exact reason.
There you go.
Maybe I'm going to the club after this. Who's to say?
Who's to say?
I'm not a member of a single club, but I could be.
You could walk out onto Fayetteville Street right now and a tennis match just breaks out. Just like that.
That's why I've got the lily. I've got the dress.
You never know. So go to Roback, get your stuff, use that promo code OG20. Also, big thanks to Nature's Relief Hemp Store. Check them out online. naturesreliefhempstore.com, RELEAF hempstore.com. You're looking for pre-rolls, gummies, seltzers. They have alcohol alternatives like nowadays, which you can just take a single shot of. You can actually use it to make popsicles if you want, because it's really, really hot outside. Lauren just perked up. Wait, popsicles with 5 milligrams of THC? Yes. Yes, you can. Things you never even knew existed.
I just didn't think about it.
They have it. Yeah. They have it at naturesreliefhempstore.com. So go check them out.
Every day.
Hey, that's what it's all about. Let's do a little Hey Joe before we talk about the Mudcats, shall we? Let me play the right music. Hey Joe, brought to you by Crank Arm Brewing. Check them out online, crankarmbrewing.com. We got the OG Summer Jam taking place July 28th at Crank Arm. Just vibing. We're going to have Butcher's Market out there, food truck. We'll be there. I'm sure we'll have stickers and stuff like that, but there should be a show taking place that you can just listen closely and have it waft over the building while we're all hanging out. So Paul had asked a question, knowing, Lauren, that you were here this week. He wanted a Mount Rushmore of Go ACC moments. And I thought that with Brooke here, we can tie her in as well.
Yes.
I have mine. I think we're going to have some overlap for some of these Go ACC moments.
I mean, I think one of them will have to be on everybody's. And
we're talking about the iconic Frank Beamer, right?
Correct. The entire game, honestly, was just like a masterclass in lowercase Go ACC. Shout out Martin Rigman for giving us lowercase Go ACC. But yeah,
as you're chiseling these images into the side of a mountain,
yes,
it has to be Frank Beamer with the arms up
100%
for the Go ACC.
Correct.
Moment. Another one on my Mount Rushmore would be the octolateral. Now, I was at Wallace Wade.
Okay. I was at that game too.
We were all there.
I wasn't.
No, you weren't there for that.
I was
one.
Covering a different game that day, I think.
So
and then I went home.
That was the Duke-Miami game, Wallace Wade Stadium.
I did watch it, though.
And there were so many things that went wrong.
It's a lot.
So many things that went wrong. It shouldn't even have. There were so many ways in that play should have been called dead, but they didn't do it. And I was there to witness it in person, and also the massive amounts of confusion in the press box as everybody was trying to find a replay, watch TV, pull up their computer, and then have it be explained in the way that they did. That was an all-timer to witness in person, Lauren.
And all deadlines were blown.
Oh,
that's what I remember. It was just everybody being with the print deadline. Like, what do we do? What do you write? I don't even know the score of the game right now.
I don't know. I almost feel like the failed kneel down was way funnier.
So you're talking about the Miami
and
Georgia
way
Tech
more
game.
like in the spirit of lowercase Go Ace. Like that was the octolateral was like a crazier moment. You're right. And like bad officiating, but that happens in every league. I feel like the failed kneel down.
The failed kneel down is so iconic that when EA Sports announced that the new football game will feature the victory formation, Georgia Tech retweeted it with, should we do it? That's how iconic
and
that
I'm like,
is.
you already did. But
I mean, you did, but I mean,
even by saying should we is like he's doing it. But I mean, I laughed so hard. I literally watched the end of that game like 7 different times just to hear the commentary from your own Wes and like Western Tim Hasselback, like trying to hide his like disgust, confusion,
gleeful disgust.
Just beautiful moments all around, and like so dumb. So dumb. It's like the dumbest thing you could imagine happening.
From Bull City coordinators on the YouTube comments, why with a bunch of exclamation points and question marks related to the Duke octolateral Miami game. What else do we have, Brooke, in your Go ACC moments, Mount Rushmore?
I've got the typo on page 145.
That was one of mine as well.
ACC.
Page 145. That's all we got to say. Most people know.
That's
the
also
fact
on my list.
That, like, when I was thinking about it, that immediately
those were the two that popped right in my mind. Yeah, Beamer and that.
That was that's an easy one. And then the only other one that I can think of in terms of like Go ACC, it all kind of depends on how far back you want to go, right? Like I can think of Larry Fedora talking about, I just saw both teams celebrating in the end zone. You know, when NC State and North Carolina got
Larry Fedora had a couple of them. So
Larry Fedora is a walking.
Larry Fedora turned an entire ACC kickoff event into a referendum on America over football and illegal hits and concussions.
That was
an all-time moment in Go ACC. We're here just to talk about football.
I feel like Boeheim deserves some recognition in there. I don't know if you want to pick like the moment he tossed the jacket, the moment that the Greensboro moment, which I feel like that is probably more representative of like him saying like, I hate it here. Basically, they don't have any restaurants and like,
you know what? And put some respect on Denny's name. My goodness.
And then like, what do we have to go eat at Denny's? And it's like, I don't. That's P.S. It
You
very
would be
much
lucky.
encapsulates the attitude a lot of people from the north have about like people here and like the way we live. It's like, oh, do they even have stoplights there? It's like, yeah, it's a city.
Yes.
What do you think they have there? Like they have restaurants like anywhere else.
So we have Frank Beamer. I think we have to agree on a 4. So Frank Beamer, 0-0 tie, right? We have page 145.
145, yep.
That has to be. Yeah, those two.
What do we do with WikiLeaks?
Ooh,
that's a good one.
That's good.
I also think of Jeff Bezdelik's whole, if you take out that run.
That's definitely in the conversation. Like,
actually, you don't have your headphones on, but I actually have that quote.
Our radio people told us that you take away those runs and we outscored them by 19. So
why am I feeling like Wake Forest is tied to so many?
That's what I was just thinking too. So
moments.
I'm like, I feel like there's something.
Do you just etch in the Demon Deacon and you just look at it and you just know?
Is Florida State
FSU on MLK Day?
Do something?
Yeah, that's up there. It belongs in the conversation.
But with Florida State getting left out of the college football playoff this past year, like where do you put that? Is that a Go ACC moment?
That's more just a rail against the committee moment.
But I do agree with you that MLK Day tweet from Florida State's football account,
or like do something
with a photoshopped MLK on there. That was pretty bad.
I thought of Zion's shoe blowing out.
Yeah,
I personally,
that's a good one. That belongs in the conversation for sure.
That's a good basketball one.
There's just a lot to choose
It's a lot, but for sure the first two that popped in my head immediately were page 145 and the
Frank
0-0. Yeah.
It depends on how you want to define it. I mean, technically Marvin Austin,
I was going to say the club
to
live
kick
tweet.
Off, the club live, that is almost like the OG of Go ACC moments before we even knew what it was.
That's a good point.
That's an all-time cell phone. You destroyed an entire football program
for 10 years.
And for 10 years by tweeting about being at the club.
And because it was just a rap lyric and no one knew that either.
No.
I know.
From Justin.
Like, how?
Yeah, I was going to say.
So scarred.
So scarred from those times.
Scarred.
From Justin, how about expanding the conference and protecting the fortress? Those are new. I don't know. I feel like SMU and Cal and Stanford are going to have they're going to have to forge their own Go ACC moments now that they're part of the league.
It doesn't merit Mount Rushmore, but I will say we had a very fun time when the ACC was changing its font.
Lean forward
into the future.
You gotta lean forward.
Lean into the future.
That's right.
Well, it sure leaned, didn't it? It leaned. It leaned.
It was a Tower of Pisa situation.
I mean, it's still leaning. You can see it. See that A? That's the point. And they paid like $500,000 to someone
to change some font to italicize.
Hey, look, all I know is that I feel like I got on the wrong line of work when I see what those consultants are getting paid and the results that come with it. It's like, we can do that for half the cost, right? Half the cost to suggest these things.
I want to just like start offering to consult on extremely wild things and just be like, I can consult on this.
Something to do.
I require $25,000.
And I'll tell you to bold your logo.
I feel like we still need some workshopping on what the final Mount Rushmore will be. And maybe I can talk to somebody. Maybe I'll use AI. Al Michaels to generate an AI image of a Go ACC Mount Rushmore.
Maybe
you're onto something.
That made me think also of Shawty Get Loose, the late
Mike
Hogwood.
That's right. It's like,
that was up there for me.
With
certainly.
Lil Mama.
Shorty
Get Loose. That's what back when they had the theme songs for the ACC tournament. Joining us on the Heister Automotive Group hotline, he is the general manager of the Carolina Mudcats. Still in Zebulon, still playing ball this summer and next summer. And David, 1, thanks for coming on. 2, what's more American during the 4th of July than baseball, hot dogs, and fireworks, my man?
Well, first of all, great to be here. Thanks for having me. And yes, we in fact, with a quick glance, I think we're down 4-2 in the 3rd inning. Currently, we're having a splash day game going on just outside the offices here, and it is in Zebulon. It is at 5 County Stadium, where we'll certainly be the rest of this year and next year with new digs in downtown Wilson in 2026. So, but to your question, there's not much more American than that, and we've got a great 3 days, July 4th, 5th, and 6th coming up next week. Fireworks each night, just family fun, family entertainment. Certainly, baseball is part of that. But a great fireworks show. We've been doing these around the 4th of July here for about 30 some odd years, and 3 great shows coming up again, July 4th, 5th, and 6th.
But before July 4th, that's next week. You guys actually have a homestand this weekend as well, which I also know is what you guys are dubbing a Heroes Weekend. So what can people expect on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday at 5 County?
Yeah, we've done this the past few years, but it is Heroes Weekend. We do want to spotlight and honor all of our local heroes in the area. Friday is tabbed as First Responders Night, so police, fire, rescue, hospital workers. There's a special ticket offer for first responders and their families. All that information is at carolinamudcats.com. But that's Friday night. We will kick off the fireworks brigade, if you will, on Friday with fireworks, First Responders Night. The first 1,000 through the gates get a special Mudcats First Responders t-shirt. And then it jumps right into Saturday, where we're honoring all of our military heroes with the same great ticket offer. This time, the first 1,000 through the gates get a cool kind of Mudcats camo jersey that's awesome. I cannot take credit for that. Our team here should get all the credit. And then last but not least, Sunday is our Teacher Appreciation Day, where we're honoring teachers. My wife's a teacher. Mom was a teacher. So certainly they are near and dear to my heart, but to all of us here. Again, just trying to honor all heroes throughout the entire weekend with some ticket specials, with some giveaways, and just, again, fun for the whole family to kind of come out and honor these folks and have a good time.
Very cool. Very cool. So I did want to get, I referenced being in Zebulon at 5 County Stadium. And there is this upcoming move and breaking down or breaking ground on Wilson. And it's interesting because, for as long as I've lived here, the Carolina Mudcats and 5 County Stadium have been pretty synonymous. I'm very fond of that 2003 season. I believe we had Dontrell Willis and Miguel Cabrera on that squad. Marlins legends. So back when the Mudcats were affiliated with the Marlins. But this, things change. The expectations of what you as a baseball franchise and the Milwaukee Brewers want to put on and everything else kind of leads to some changes. So, how has the messaging been understood about what exactly is going on and the move to Wilson? How much longer is it 5 County Stadium and why you guys are moving to Wilson and everything else?
Yeah, I think there's certainly been bits and pieces, in this world, and I'm a generation, I'm certainly a part of it. We selectively pick out and choose immediate content and information to consume, and sometimes certainly things can get lost, but as they can with anything. But yeah, I mean the short version is 2 years ago or so, when Major League Baseball took over kind of the operating procedures of all of minor league baseball. There were some changes coming out of COVID. Major League Baseball took over. And part of that was that Major League Baseball, put together a list of kind of mandated upgrades and consistent, rules and regulations for affiliated franchises to follow. Mm-hmm. A lot of that most of it included, in fact, player development related things, from the size of the clubhouse and the lockers and female dressing facilities for staff and umpires, padding on the walls, safety lighting, field conditions, with a goal of trying to bring a set of standards that all teams, no matter where they are, AA, AAA, single A, wherever you are across the country, that had to follow. And with that, became the need to start looking at upgrades, for facilities across the country. And we were no different. And so as that kind of took place, it just became, there was an opportunity that Wilson, the city of Wilson, presented. And again, I told you it was the short version. This is about a 2.5-year summary here in a couple of minutes, but it just kind of worked out where Wilson was redeveloping their downtown. They had an opportunity to build a stadium. They wanted to build a stadium, and so the Brewers / Mudcats are going to be moving in 2026 to a brand new stadium located in downtown Wilson. And if you think more recent stadiums in the area like Fayetteville, Kannapolis comes to mind, similar type layouts, similar type amenities, all up to compliance with what Major League Baseball says, plus some really cool fan-facing amenities.
Okay. Well, I mean, look, I get that. I mean, I've spent a good chunk of time talking about Bank of America Stadium and the upgrades that are needed. I mean, we spent a good chunk of last year talking about PNC Arena and the renovations that were necessary to kind of bring things to the modern era and get better shows and kind of move with the time. So all these things make a lot of sense. What I'm curious about is, will I at least get another opportunity to come back to Five County Stadium at some point soon, and not embarrass myself the way that I did the last time I was there, where I got beat in a warning track race. I was very disappointed in myself. I got smoked by the fan.
To be fair, though, to you, I believe you set some very important priorities, because I believe you were carrying a full beer as you were running this race on a microbrews night here at Five County Stadium. And so
just 2 summers ago, I think it was.
And look, you saved the beer and lost the race, but I think you won overall. I mean, you were the big winner. But yes, we would love to have you come back out. You could redeem yourself at any point.
Giglio and I think me and Giglio need to race each other and do the beer race and see what happens.
I think that would be great. We could get into the sumo suits. You guys could go at it. You could go. There's any number of things you could. We'll let you guys kind of have the run of the place, and let's just figure out. Maybe it's a decathlon. Maybe you do 10 different events. Who knows?
Maybe that'll be the case. Yeah, I'll talk when Joe gets back from vacation. Maybe we could talk about maybe getting out there at some point in July, those dog days of summers, and doing some fun and frivolity out there. Because I to this day, my kids still give me crap over the fact that I got beat in that race. And I don't think my first pitch was all that great either, but I think I was a little high if I remember correctly. But that's neither here nor there.
I think they tell everybody, look, you'd rather go high than bounce it. And so again, from my recollection, it didn't even need to be framed. It was a strike, and again, you were the big winner by saving the beer. So yeah, anytime you want to come back, you're welcome.
You are absolutely right about not bouncing it, because that's the thing that's always going in my head. I'm like, whatever you do, don't put it in the dirt. Whatever you do. So
that's right.
All about it. All right, so people go to the Carolina Mudcats website, get tickets for this weekend for the Heroes Weekend. Obviously, we got July 4th, and to be clear about July 4th, before we say goodbye. You are doing fireworks every night, Thursday, Friday, Saturday?
That is correct. So July 4th, it's a Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and we have 3 games against the Down East Wood Ducks here at Five County Stadium. And every single night, the games start at 6:30. We've got fireworks every night. They will be even more elaborate than our normal Friday night fireworks shows. Sweet. But yeah, all 3 nights you can come out. Again, a lot of people have different things going on around the 4th. So if you can't make one, maybe you can make the other. But you hit it. It's CarolinaMudcats.com. All the ticket information for this weekend with our Heroes Weekend and those awesome giveaways. And then for next week, the July 4th, 5th, and 6th, Mudcats for America fireworks extravaganza all 3 nights.
Awesome. All right, Dave, we appreciate the time, and I'll touch base with you about that whole warning track race thing.
We're ready, and again, we'll even give you time to practice. You guys can kind of train a little bit if you want to, but even if that's lifting a few 12-ounce curls, whatever it needs to be, we're ready. But again, appreciate you, Joe, and certainly Gilio being on the road. We appreciate him as well. Thanks for having me.
All right, that's going to wrap it up for today's OG Live, brought to you by Sleek Fleet. Check them out online, sleek-fleet.com. We always appreciate OG Live on Thursdays, 2 o'clock, podcast to follow. Quick, some additional housekeeping notes as we say goodbye. Next week is technically an off week for the podcast. However, we will have OG summer break programming. On Monday, we will have a conversation between me and Dimitri Romanos about the state of the current media landscape. What are we all chasing? What are we all trying to do? What the heck is going on? So I hope you'll enjoy that conversation. On Tuesday, we have a featured interview with NC State head basketball coach Kevin Keatts. Joe Giglio and Keatts sat down over at the Raleigh Times last week to go over essentially what's kind of turning out to be the year of the Wolfpack. 2024 has been pretty incredible for NC State between the Final Four run, Omaha for the College World Series, Abby Lampe winning another cheese rolling competition. It's been pretty great. And obviously there's a lot of hype for NC State football this upcoming season. So Kevin Keatts, that's about I'd say about a 40-minute conversation with Kevin Keatts that he had some interesting things to say about how they got to this point, how he had never changed his mindset or any of that stuff. And on Wednesday, it'll be a very special OG 4th of July extravaganza. Jeremy Markovich, NC Rabbit Hole newsletter, and I will talk about gas stations, fireworks, and monster trucks. I don't know what's more America than those 3 things. So we'll talk about how people get their fireworks south of the border. That time, the monster truck, Gravedigger, crossed the Currituck Sound. For real, 30 years ago. All things that we'll talk about in that podcast. So that's Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday of next week. Obviously, 4th of July is a Thursday. We will not be doing an OG Live. And then we'll be back on July 8th for normal programming. We are scheduled to talk to Eric Tulsky, new general manager of the Carolina Hurricanes, and Rod Brindamore, head coach of the Carolina Hurricanes, that week as we kind of look back on free agency, the draft, and everything else going forward for the Carolina Hurricanes. So appreciate you watching. Make sure you like, subscribe, throw us 5 stars, 5 stars only, positive vibes only. We appreciate the reviews. Even the 4-star review that we got from an NC State fan who thought that we use NC State as a punching bag, which I found amusing. Anyway, that's going to wrap it up. We will see you in a couple of weeks.